alien asteroids around our solar system. These space rocks are of interstellar origin and they inhabit our solar system. And most of them, from what we know, are around the big planets, the outer planets. But this one here, the Borisov, was discovered in August of last year. And it was discovered by an amateur astronomer who made his own telescope and happened to be pointing it towards the low horizon to see the sun. He was obviously looking for something else. He didn't expect to see this. The major space agencies have big telescopes which are not able to dip that low towards the horizon, and therefore they were not able to spot it. But we have these tremendous, huge objects. Some of them are bigger than Mars, if you'll see. Look at this upright 1 o'clock area, the size of Mars. Look at these. Pholus, Hariklo, and Chiron, for example. Look at those huge sizes, how big they are. And this is the orbit of Chiron, as you can see, going all the way towards the orbit of Uranus. You can see how huge their orbits are. But these things are something between, they're called centaurs, they're something between asteroids and comets. Centaurs, because centaurs we know from Greek mythology were half animal, half human, usually half human, the top half human, the bottom half horse. Anyway, these are a mixture of asteroids and comets. Now, asteroid experts at Sao Paulo State University of Geosciences and Exact Sciences have identified, up to now, 19 space rocks of interstellar origin. The space rocks are classed as centaurs, outer solar system objects. They're orbiting between Jupiter and Neptune. Professor Maria Helena Morais, one of the study co-authors, said the solar system formed 4.5 billion years ago in a stellar nursery with its systems of planets and asteroids. As she explains, the stars were close enough to each other to foster strong gravitational interactions that led to an exact exchange of material among the systems. Some objects now in the solar system must therefore have formed around other stars. Until recently, though, we could not distinguish between captured interstellar objects and objects that formed around our sun. The first identification was made by us in 2018, so as you can see, it was only 2 years ago. The first the identification to which Professor Morais referred to was the asteroid Kapeakoawela, asteroid 514107. The Hawaiian name Kapeakoawela translates as mischievous, opposite-moving companion of Jupiter. The rock has occupied the path corresponding to Jupiter's orbit for at least 4.5 billion years. But the strange thing is that it revolves around the sun in the opposite direction of our planets. So if it's not coplanar revolving as our planets, that means if it revolves in the exact opposite, it means that it's come from somewhere else, obviously. Professor Morais said, when we identified it as an object that came from outside the solar system, we didn't know whether it was an isolated case or part of a vast population of immigrant asteroids. In this latest study, she says, we recognized 19 centaurs of interstellar origin. The centaurs identified in the study have highly inclined orbits with respect to the orbital plane of the planets. Professor Morais adds in her explanation, to investigate the origin of these objects, we built a computer simulation that works like a time machine, running their trajectory backwards 4.5 billion years. The simulation enabled us to find out where these objects were at that time. The planets and asteroids that originated in the solar system emerged from a thin disk of gas and dust that once orbited the sun, and for this reason, they all moved in the plane of the disk 4.5 billion years ago. Now, if the centaurs originated in our solar system, they should also have moved in the plane of the disk at that time. But, Professor Morais adds, our simulations show that 4.5 billion years ago, these objects revolved around the sun in orbits perpendicular to the disk's plane, totally perpendicular. In addition, they did so in a region distant from gravitational effects of the original disk. So these two findings show that the centaurs did not originally belong to our solar system and must have been captured from nearby stars during a period of planet formation. This is by Tom Fish on Express UK. Now, the enigma of these centaurs in our solar system. They're small objects that populate our solar system roughly between the orbits of Saturn and Neptune, and for many decades their identity has proven to be a bit of an enigma to the astronomers. Are they comets or are they asteroids? So it's all a question of where they originated from. Either they came from deep space, in which case they would be comets, or from our own solar system, making them asteroids. This explains the origin of their name. As we said, in Greek mythology, Centaur was a creature half man, half horse. In other words, he was transhuman, he was a hybrid. So where are they defined? How are they defined? It's a matter of contention. Various astronomical organizations have different versions. One thing they're all agreed on is that their orbits must be within that of Neptune. Another agreed criterion is that their orbits are irregular and must cross that of at least one of the gas giants at some point during their lives. I hope they don't have a collision with them, God forbid. Now, are they comets or asteroid? It's known that comets have a coating of soot or charcoal, meaning they don't reflect light very well and thus appear quite dark, but of course they have ice on them, so they leave tails as they evaporate. Now, asteroids are, on the other hand, shiny, reflecting light in similar manner to our moon. A recent mission by NASA's Wide Field Infrared Survey Explorer WISE revealed that out of the 183 centaurs listed by Jet Propulsion Laboratory, around 2/3 display features similar to comets. But despite this, it's still not clear as to the identity of the other 1/3. And another enigma. It was also discovered that there was some variation in the color of these objects. Astronomers expected them to be bluish-gray. They actually found that some were blue-gray and rusty-red as well. This was quite a surprise, and a tentative explanation for this could be that some of them originated from the gas giants. Now, the most notable centaurs of these objects have a designation that is uninspiring sequence of numbers and letters. Some of them are more prominent and have been assigned actual names. As we said before, the centaur Chiron, in Greek mythology, Chiron was the original centaur. So this object, discovered in 1997 and displaying the characteristics of both a comet and an asteroid, was named after him. And it displays a very eccentric orbit, taking it within the orbit of Saturn and outside that of Uranus. And one such orbit takes just over 50 years. So you can see it goes pretty fast. Its diameter is currently about 145 miles, so it's like a small planet. It's thought that it originated from the Kuiper Belt, but sometimes in the next million years, it will become a true short period comet. And then we have the second to be discovered was in 1992, Phobos. It's a 115-mile diameter object. It also displays an extremely eccentric orbit around 92 years, and like Chiron, its orbit takes it within that of Saturn and outside of Uranus. Phobos displays a bold red coloration and is also thought to have originated in the Kuiper Belt. And next you have Nessus, Asvolos, and Hilonomi, Hariklo, and Beanor, and Amicus. And they are smaller, but they take anywhere between 126 years to 67 years. So I'll leave a link below for you to Guide to the Universe. You can see what these things are. It's amazing. They're discovering new celestial bodies all the time. I'll leave links below for you. Please leave your comment and subscribe and share. Thank you for your support. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.